So, welcome to Exodus 19, a nation married to Yah, with your host, Richard Massey. I pray that you guys are having a blessed day. And I pray also that whatever you and your family are going through, that Yah gives you the strength to go through it. Today, we're going to be reading from Matthew 19. Matthew 19. And the title today is going to be The Rich Man. The Rich Man. So please go get your Bibles and let's read together. And while you do that, I'll read my declaration, because my declaration is to open the eyes to those that have an ear to hear what the Ruach HaKodesh is saying to the assembly, to set the captives free and to heal the sick and to draw us closer to Elohim, and to show you the connections between the law and the New Testament every chance that I get, but always with kindness and always with respect. And from there we go to 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people, which are called by my name, should humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and I will heal their land. And from there we go to 2 Corinthians 7:9. He says, I now rejoice, not that you were made sad, but that you were made saddened into repenting. For you were made sad according to Elohim, so that you suffer no loss from us. For sadness according to Elohim works repentance to deliverance, and not to be regretted, but the sadness of this world works death. And then from there, Matthew 6:33, but ye first to run Elohim and his righteousness, and all these matters shall be added to you. Isaiah 4:6, my people have perished for a lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I reject you from being priests for me. And since you have forgotten the Torah of your Elohim, I also forget your children. Father, I thank you for this morning. I am realizing more and more that the days that you order for me and for us, you have something to do with it, good and bad. You tested the children of Israel with manna. You tested Joseph since he was 17 to the time he became 30. You tested Job. And last but not least, you tested Yeshua HaMashiach. You allowed them to suffer, to see the decisions that they are going to make, and to see if they are worthy to be entering into the kingdom. You also test, and you also prove us every day to see what decisions we're going to make, depending on what problems we're facing. And the more I realize that, the better chance I have in coming through. That's why you tell me before it happens that greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. And that I can do all things through Yeshua HaMashiach that strengthen me. You have me to remember these verses in the midst of my troubles, because you were speaking life to me at that time. And now when I'm going through these troubles, I need to open my briefcase up and pull these verses out and reflect on them, knowing that you have made this day, and I will rejoice and I will be glad in it. And these verses help me to change my attitude and to let me know that despite what you're doing, the promises that you made to me in the beginning are what's going to have me triumph in the end. So I thank you for your word. I thank you for believing in me and giving me you. I thank you for giving me Yeshua HaMashiach, and I thank you for giving me the Ruach HaKodesh for remembrance. You are worthy to be praised from the rising of the sun until the going down of the same. Matthew 19. I really don't have any notes for it. So we're just going to jump right into the reading. Matthew 19:1. It came to be when Yeshua had ended these words that he left Galilee and came to the borders of Yehuda beyond the Jordan. 2. And large crowds followed him, and he healed them there. 3. And the Pharisees came to him, trying him, and saying to him, is it right for a man to put away his wife for every reason? And I have in my notes, if you want to know Elohim, read Isaiah 46:9. Because it says that you have to declare the end from the beginning. So let's go to Isaiah 46:9. Isaiah 46:9. It says, remember the former events of old. Why do we have to remember the former events of old? We have Yeshua HaMashiach now that died on the cross. But he says, remember the former events of old, for I am El, and there is no one else. He says, Elohim, and there is no one like me. He says, declaring the end from the beginning and from of all that which has not yet been done, saying, my counsel does stand, and all my delight I do. Wow. So Yeshua referred him back to his father when he said, and he answered him, said to them, did you not read did you not read that he who made them at the beginning made them male and female? 5. And said, for this cause a man shall leave his father and his mother and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. And I have a response to that I learned this last year. And the two shall become one flesh. The argument is always who should give up their life for who. And the world says that the man should basically give up his life for his wife. Happy wife, happy life. I never did like that. But how the two become one flesh is that the husband and the wife both give up their life for Yeshua HaMashiach and for Elohim. The two both come into agreement for Elohim. And if the two don't come into agreement for Elohim, their marriage is going to suffer. And this is not no prophetic word. I just don't believe that the husband should give up his life for his wife, who is fallible. And the wife shouldn't give up her life for her husband, who is fallible. But the husband and the wife should both give up their life to an Elohim who is perfect and without sin. That's what I believe. That's what makes a marriage one. Because when you go into your flesh and you fall into your flesh and your emotions pertaining to what you're going through, it's the word that's going to make you come out of that. And I think that that's the way you can have a happy marriage. 6, so that they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what Elohim has joined together, let no man separate. I think if you do it the way I'm saying it, and both give up their life for Elohim, no man can separate it. Because they're both going to have the wisdom and understanding to not be tricked by the enemy. 7, they said to him, why then did Moshe command to give a certificate of divorce and to put her away? 8, and he said to them, because of the hardness of your hearts. See, somebody's not laying their life down for Elohim. He says, Moshe allowed you to put away your wives but from the beginning, when my father first made this up, came up with this in Genesis, from the beginning it was not so. His intention was to be married old always. 9. And I say to you, whoever puts away his wife except on the ground of whoring and marries another commits adultery. Whoever marries her who has been put away, he commits adultery, or they commit adultery. And this is a really hard saying for me because this is my second marriage. And I was really concerned about this verse here. And me and my wife has always talked about this. She would always bring this up and asking if we were right in what we were doing. But like I said, I'm working out my own salvation with fear and trembling. And I've heard a lot of different messages based on this verse. But I have to say, Pastor Arthur Bailey, he eased my mind when he told the story about the woman at the well. And Yeshua was talking to her accusers, and he said, "He who was without sin cast the first stone." And then after a while, they all walked away, young and old. And he said to the lady, because remember, they never brought the man; they just brought her. And they even said to him that they caught her in the very act. But after they all left, because they all had sinned, he said to her, "Go and sin no more." So whereas before I was okay with getting a divorce and walking away from my wife, I went based on what I knew. And now that I know better, even if me and my wife now are going through something, don't sin no more because you know better. So I pray that that is good with Yah. That's my prayer. 10. His taught said to him, if such is the case of the man with his wife, it is good not to marry. Because they're saying maybe we shouldn't marry because this is too hard. 11. And he said to them, not all receive this word, but only those to whom it has been given. 12. For there are eunuchs who were so born from their mother's womb, and there are eunuchs who were made eunuchs by men, and there are eunuchs who have made themselves eunuchs for the sake of the reigns of heaven. He who is able to receive it, let him receive it. Receive it. In my notes I have, we have to come to the kingdom of heaven like a child, humble, with a willingness to learn. So 13, then young children were brought to him to lay his hands on them and pray, and the taught ones rebuked them. 14, but Yeshua said, allow the young children and do not stop them from coming to me, for of such is the reign of the heavens. 15, and having laid his hands on them, he went from there. 16, and see, one came and said to him, good teacher, what good shall I do to have everlasting life? 17, and he said to him, why do you call me good? This is the man who we say is giving us a new law, right? He's given us a new testament. But yet he don't even want the young man to call him good. He says, no one is good except one. Who's he reflecting to? He says, Elohim. But if you wish to enter into life, he says, guard the commandments. How do we skip that? And this is Yeshua talking. 16, and see, one came and said to him, good teacher, what good shall I do to have everlasting life? 17, and he said to him, why do you call me good? No one is good except one. Don't put that on me, Yeshua HaMashiach said. He says Elohim. But then he said, but if you wish to enter into life, guard the commands. We just float right over that. And this is Yeshua saying that. So here Yeshua is just giving out a couple of commands, just to name a few. So in 18, he says to him, which? And Yeshua said, you shalt not murder, you shalt not commit adultery, you shalt not steal, you shalt not bear false witness. 19, he says, respect your father and your mother, and you should love your neighbor as yourself. And the young man said to him, all these I have watched from my youth. He says, what do I still lack? Now I heard a pretty big preacher say that what Yeshua HaMashiach just said to the young man was all that we need to do. We need to not murder. We need to not commit adultery. We need not to steal. And we need not to bear false witness. We need to respect our mother and our father. And we need to love our neighbors as ourselves. And he said, that's all you need to do because that's all Yeshua said. So what we don't have to do is we don't have to have no other gods before us because we can, right? He's saying that we can because all we have to do is what Yeshua said. So we can have other gods before us. We can make graven images. We could take the Lord's name in vain. And we already don't do the Sabbath because you say that part is the law, which I don't get number 4 out of 10. Right? So we don't have to honor God. We can close the book right there. That makes no sense to me. In my notes, I have this person knew who Yeshua was. That's why he approached him like he did. Notice how after Yeshua gave him a list of commandments, he also gave him a choice to make. Because you don't have to do it. And again, the person knew who he was talking to, but walked away sad. He didn't want to make that choice. The rich trust and believe in their riches. 21, Yeshua said to him, if you wish to be perfect, go, sell what you have and give to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. 22, and when the young man had heard the word, he went away sad, because he had many possessions. 23, and Yeshua said to his taught ones, truly I say to you, that it's hard for a rich man to enter into the reigns of heavens. 24, and again I say to you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the reign of Elohim. And I have in my notes, this made the young man sad, but it showed that he valued his riches over commandments 1 and 2. And Yeshua showed that you love your possessions more than you love me. That's the one thing you lack. Because rich people, to me, they make a lot of money doing certain things. And a lot of things that they do are not going to be good things. Some of the decisions that they make are going to hurt somebody. But they would rather rake in that money and have that quality of life than to turn it down. When you look at medical insurance and you look at judges and politicians, even our food industry, they make decisions for the things that they put in their food and their product that benefits them, even though they know it can be harmful to us. They have to make decisions to make the money or to be morally right. And they want to be making the money. And a lot of times I don't believe that there's too many rich people in this world that are honest through and through. Because the devil's not going to allow that. That's just me. 25. And when his taught ones heard it, they were astonished, saying, who then is able to be saved? Because if And don't forget, Yeshua, we're doing pretty good for ourselves too. When you met us, we had our own fishing businesses. In my notes, if you would do anything to keep these things, there's a concern here because Yah wants for you to have heavy concerns only for Him. Don't worship these things with your heart and eyes. Sometimes you have to make a choice, and salvation is a choice. 26. And looking intently, Yeshua said to them, with men this is impossible, with Elohim all things are possible, because it's going to be me again, just like that couple. If you submit to me, there's certain things that you will not do. And if you submit to me, I'm going to have you have faith, more faith in me than in your business opportunities. And if you have faith in me, some of the things that you're doing is going to have to stop. And maybe you won't make as much. And that's why a rich man will denounce, not even denounce, but he would just rather not go the way of Yeshua HaMashiach and go his own way. That's why he says, with men this is impossible, but with Elohim all things is possible. 27. Then Kepha answered and said to him, see, we have left all and followed you. What then shall we have? 28. And Yeshua said to them, truly I say to you, when the Son of Adam sits on the throne of his esteem, you who have followed me in the rebirth shall also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. 29. And everyone who has left houses or brothers or sisters or fathers or mother or wife or children or land for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit an everlasting life. 30. But many who are first shall be last, and the last first. I pray that you have a blessed day. I pray that you make good decisions. Have a blessed Sunday morning. And Elohim willing, I will see you next week. Peace out.